Alexa, what day is it today?
Today is Thursday, April 19th.
What time is it?
It's 8:30 a.m.
Turn on lamp 1. Hello, it's Linton here. And as you can see, it says the 10th of April. That's because we're reshooting this. Alexa didn't get, she wasn't wrong. Yeah, so we had issues with the soundtrack, and hoping the soundtrack comes through this time. This depressing business, the chase still on, run down the mechanism for inbreeding depression and for outbreeding depression. The last talk we were led to consider the possibility that that in very few years the birth rate for Sweden, and by extension the entire global productive middle class, will fall essentially to zero. That phenomenon has been suggested by history, archaeology, and plagues wild mice seen in laboratory mice. Prudence demands we look for the same thing elsewhere. This is a pretty tall order, so every piece of evidence we can bring to bear is relevant. Okay, cutting insects in Canada. Importance of insects eating trees is obvious. What they did was they would count the number of leaders. That means the shoots that grow off the main stem of a tree. In infested trees that had insect eggs, the number of leaders that had been killed by infestation and the average length of the leaders. I would be happy to show you actual number of leaders. I should have to show you the actual data, but what I have is a computer model they developed. This sort of gives a sort of idealized pattern. Horizontal axis, age of the plantation being studied and obviously being infested. Then the vertical axis is like their counts. So, number of shoots, right? The big black line starts here, right after the plantation is made. The shoots numbers go up and over and down and begin to level off. Never goes to zero. And this basically is evidence for insect activity. One of these lines is the number of infested leaders, and the other line is the number of dead leaders killed by insects. And, well, as you see, during the first period of time, they go up together, like plausibly, and they point this out. Insect population growth is limited by the growth of the grove. What they don't really make much of is that while the number of leaders is continuing up, the number of infested and dead shoots is going down. Goes down, levels off, dies out. Single spike, up, down, crash, even though from here on there is ample food for growth. So it's limited by food from here to here, a little bit. Past that, food is not relevant to the insect population growth. And well, there it is. Now this is a computer model. It's idealized over a bunch of different studies. I'd be happy to give you the primary data, but it's been it's been studied. The Pisodi strobi, they're weevils. It's some kind of weevil that eats the spruce that the plantation consists of. Well, that's the spruce results of the spruce weevil attack SWAT simulation model. Okay, number of leaders, eggs, number of leaders killed by the insects. And when I showed this in context to a meeting of entomologists, yeah, you could have heard a pin drop. I swear there were deer running around in the auditorium. Couples were making out in the back because it was the only place in the meeting where there was any privacy. Huge empty hall with not one but three men whose job was to, introduce people. Oh, they did not look happy with me. But there it is. I gave a presentation and nobody, it's like everybody. Look, how many people are going to look at this and say, oh, this proves it, this clinches it? This is the most important issue in the world today and the most important over the last million years and more. I must tell everybody, which is true, it is, but yeah. So, just like Sweden, population goes up quickly, falls rapidly, seems to be leveling off, and then, bam, dies out. It's now fruit flies don't do it that way. Time before all the weevils are gone, about 50 years. Possibility the infested trees are producing some chemical to protect them, but the pattern occurs everywhere in rich country where food's plentiful and wholesome. Behavior of insects, same pattern. Supports our suspicion this will happen to humans in developed countries and other countries, as we saw from the the United Nations data. The very good people to work with. I really had to call the UN to get a hold of the numbers, and they were more than kind. Don't know that they're doing anything with it themselves. If we got enough time, in theory, it should be possible to avoid having a disaster. I don't have a plan that would fit into available time. Yeah, back when I started on this, what, 30, 40 years ago, I think it was probably enough time, but no interest. But hey, I'm just yelling for help. Somebody else come up with a cure. We'll see if there's enough time for that cure. So, enough doom and gloom for a while. Next time will be a happier note. We'll talk about a success story, the black-footed ferrets reintroduced into the wild. So, So thanks for coming. Spread the word if you possibly can bring yourself to. And Alexa, turn off lamp 1. Alexa, turn off lamp 1.